Welcome to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Bike Week Radio Show with 6-time AMA champion and Motorcycle Hall of Famer Brock Glover, Bobby Woolridge, Paul Carruthers, and Scott Cox. It's Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome in, Bike Week Radio, Sunday morning, leading up to the Padres pregame show today. Bike Week Radio. I'm
Bobby
Jordan.
Sounds different.
Yeah,
today.
what's going on? Where's Bobby Woo?
Where is he?
I'm Jordan Carruth, filling in for Bobby Woo, and I have a feeling the only reason I'm here today is because I'm the former roommate of Bobby Woolridge, and you guys just want all the inside
the
scoop.
dirt he has on our little Bobby.
Yeah, I thought the next hour was just going to be dirt on the Woo.
Now, was that platonic? Was that like just a roommate thing?
They were just
was there more to
trying
that?
to make ends meet.
Oh, okay.
Expense-wise.
If you say so.
Is that going to be the lead question? I mean, so many questions can be asked after that. That's going to be the lead?
Hey,
Well,
Jordan, we're happy to have you here.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. It's almost a full cast today.
Almost.
Brock Glover going to be calling in from Santa Clara.
That counts.
From the new Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, by the way.
And I do want a little bit of a response on what that stadium looks like.
I'm sure Brock will offer that up.
Yeah.
And we've got our wingman, Pat Osborne, is here with us in studio.
Here to shill for the sponsors and be shameless.
Doing a good job of it. And Paul, I don't know if he's calling in. I'm kind of doubting it. You know, this is Moto America's second consecutive weekend of racing in their young life.
You said I could stomp all over everything on the show,
You might
right?
as well.
Did you mean that?
You might as well.
Levi's Stadium. If you're in Silicon Valley, how come it's sponsored by the stadium naming rights is Levi's?
Because they all wear Levi's.
Yeah, but you would think it would be like blah, blah, blah.com or
Not
Apple
happening.
or Orange or weird.
Levi's got that universal appeal.
Okay.
But I watched the race last night, the Monster Energy Supercross from Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. The facility looks fantastic on television. I can only imagine what it's like in person, and Brock's going to be with us. Brock, are you there yet? No, he's not on yet, but he was calling.
I'm there.
Oh, there he
got
is.
me on, yeah.
Brockster, how is that facility? Looks unreal on TV. What's it like in real person?
Well, it's really, really nice. Pretty easy to get into, and of course, it's a brand new modern stadium and sound system, TV monitor, or whatever, big screen. All the stuff we wish we had at Qualcomm. It's all there, and maybe it's my new favorite event. You know, it's easy to get into the airport. Easy, you know, you can get in and out of the San Jose airport, easy in and out hotels and restaurants and all that. So it's really quite a nice facility. And
How would you compare it to Petco?
Apples and oranges. I mean, one's a big football stadium, and the other one's a big, it's a training facility. There's the 49ers training camp and facilities on right there next door to it and all. So it's, the Great America, the amusement park shares a part of the parking lot too. So it's a nice big place and something, like I said, we wish we had here. And to get it right, I was calling it Levi singular stadium, but no, it's Levi's plural stadium. So,
Yeah, because we wear Levi's.
Yes, exactly. There's got to be that apostrophe in there, so you got to name, you got to say it right. The racing was interesting last night. I mean, Scott, you said you saw it on TV there, and
Yeah, enjoyed it.
I'd like to have seen about 4 or 5 replays of that 250 start, but I didn't.
It was a nightmare.
Get to see it but one time, huh?
Yeah, my personal favorite, Zach Osborne on the Husqvarna. I mean, he was set up for maybe a whole shot, and it was a train wreck, literally. I mean, it was the biggest pile up at a start this year.
Isn't that called? Did he get what they call ass packed? I think is the reference.
Pretty much.
Of it?
Yeah, he took a good ass packing.
It looked like
there.
on TV.
Right in the Levi's.
Right in the Levi's
Yeah.
patch. Yeah, exactly. So that's too bad because I did it. I had to have taken out half the field. I mean,
It did. It did, and I was
terrible.
surprised. But I don't know about rules and regulations, but they let the guys run, and no red flags. And we have to admit, pretty impressive. Cooper Webb, the reigning 250 West Supercross champion for 2015, he was in the pileup. He was off his bike, laying on the ground. He manages to pass and win the race. I mean, he passes everybody, and he
this
wins
was the final, race. Obviously.
Well, this was the main event last night. But Cooper's got incredible skills, and he just breathes different air than everybody else apparently. But he was a man on a mission. It was interesting to see Josh Hansen. I mean, there's a guy that's been racing Supercross on a professional level for so many years, and he actually led some laps, and then Cooper passed him, I believe, and then it was over with. And
he had the front of his exhaust pipe coming right out of the header pipe fell out of the cylinder. As a guy that works on my Dunlop crew, he helps Josh a little bit there, and he says, "Yeah, I'm so frustrated. A $3 part cost a podium probably." And it's I'd have to say he's right. Josh had a comfortable enough lead on the guys in the back other than Cooper, and that he could have, a podium was very, very likely. So that was too bad for him and the guys. But the one thing he's been racing too long to make this little mistake, but he pulled off the track and started heading out the tunnel, and then they just grabbed the pipe and pushed it right back in.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
And I'm not sure if, at that point, I'm sure it wouldn't have stayed in for the race. But, did they have a spring? Did they have some sort of part like that to help pop it back in or hold it? Maybe, but the point is, once you leave the racetrack like that, you can't come back into the race. You have to get all your repairs done in the mechanics area. So that cost him any chance of even re-entering the race if it would have been an easy fix. And so,
too bad.
It would have been worth at least pushing it back into the head and try to go back out and see if it would stay at least run a zip tie or something around it, or I don't know, melt probably, but.
Sure.
Some wire.
And then in the 450s, our man Ryan Dungey, who just sealed the championship last weekend, he just ran away with it. Man, that guy.
Yeah.
Brock, you've been in that position where you've won a title when there's still racing to be done. More rounds. I mean, what's that like? I mean, for him, he's just out there racing for bonus money or racing for personal pride. I mean, what drove him?
I mean, most people really figured Ryan would just go, look, he's not going to risk getting hurt at this point and get ready for the outdoors. Don't do anything silly. If he gets into a big battle with a Tomac or a Sealy or something, let it go. But, one of our staff was talking to him. Ryan is really, he's a great guy. He's a great champion, good person. And he shows up, at our truck with a couple of gifts, tells everybody, hey, thanks for changing my tires all year long, and et cetera. And it was, just a class act. And one of our guys asked him, hey, you're going to take it easy for the next couple of races and get ready for the outdoors? And he just looked at him and says, not a chance. And he says, I want to make a statement. So that in itself, the guy wants to win races. He wants to win more. He wants to win more and more races as the season goes on. And he thinks right now, here's a great chance for him to do exactly that. The field is a little bit weaker than it was, but right now, you got to think about it. I mean, do you remember how long? It's not that long ago we were at Phoenix in round 2, and Weston Pike got the start, and Weston Pike actually held Dungey off until probably lap 17 or 18. While Tomac had taken the lead, but the battle for the final podium spot at that race, Roxon was in second, and Tomac was leading, and it took Ryan Dungey pretty much 17 laps to get around Pike. It doesn't take Ryan Dungey 17 laps to get around Weston Pike anymore. He's elevated his game, no question about it. And he's, you got to give it up to him. When he switched over to Alden Baker, the famous trainer that's worked with everybody from Ricky Carmichael to James Stewart, to all these top guys. I mean, he is just,
he's a man on a mission.
Man, he is, and his confidence is sky high right now. It's no question. But it's not just his confidence; his speed is there. I mean, he's actually got.
He's fast.
He's not qualifying 7th and 8th anymore. He's up front.
And everybody accused him of not being a very aggressive rider. I'll say throughout his career, just using a broad brush there. But man, he's hunting guys down. I mean, he's got his shoulders squared, and it's a pleasure to watch him. I mean, instead of kind of writing him off, and I'll admit I was one of those guys. Maybe last season, maybe the last couple of seasons, come on, Dungey, just take that chance, dive into that corner. In the heat race, he and Weston Pike, I don't know what happened earlier in the day, but it was almost like there was some paint rubbing to be done, once the TV camera started to roll. But I would say that's as aggressive as I've seen Ryan Dungey ride. I mean,
no question. I mean, Weston was doing a little triple combo and just kind of a little bit before the finish line. And Ryan wasn't doing it. He was doing 2 coming out of the corner, and he was clearly losing a lot of time. And then he was, quite a bit quicker on the other half of the track. And then Ryan just picked up the pace, and at the end, he could have just held there and just said, you know what, second place is good enough for the main event gate pick and all, and I don't need to push it. He didn't do that at all. He pushed the hammer down, and again, I'm impressed. I'm very, very impressed with what he's doing.
Hey, Pat's got a figure skating question for you here, Brockster.
Yeah, I'm just lacing them up here. No, I think you guys are brushing over this a little quick. When the guys already wrapped up the championship for the season,
already has the trophy at home on the mantle.
Okay, well, that would be equivalent to, you pick your NFL team that's already made the playoffs.
Exactly.
And then you take your star quarterback and you let him play in one or two meaningless games, in the last 2 weeks.
In front of the house, maybe a little more.
Yeah, and if that guy goes down with sprains an ankle or a knee, and anything can happen, why would he go out there and push it and put the outdoor season at risk?
Training too. I mean, Brock, talk about Tyler Bowers. He's out for the year. What happened with Tyler Bowers? There's a guy that was...
Yeah, he's been battling some injuries, and he's got some back problem, and he also, I heard he had Epstein's-Barr along with it. Seems to be running around the pro circuit team, because that's what Arnaud Tonis, he has a version of like an Epstein's-Barr virus. So he's, that's the situation. But getting back to the Dungey question, that's a really good question. If Dungey were, I knock on wood, I don't want anything to happen, but if something did happen, he could be in a situation where people are like, that's the dumbest guy in the world. He already cashed his big $1 million plus bonus for the championship. He did all those kind of things. And it's like leaving your star quarterback in the Nationals, or you're talking about a month away before the first outdoor national. So it's not long enough to get back from a reasonably serious injury. And so, but Ryan, he's got 7 wins. It took him 5 rounds to win his first race. But once he did, he's just been on a roll, and he's racked up 7 wins through the first 15. So if he wins 2 more, he'd be more than 50% of the races. He's going to be the winner, and so that in itself sets a pretty strong.
Hey, Jordan's waving here. He wants to toss something at you there, Brockster.
Well, just to go the other side of it, to keep racing. I mean, if he keeps winning, there's some rhythm to it. There's some confidence after going out and winning. Don't you just want to continue that?
Of course. You don't want to sit back on the sidelines. I've only had to do it one time in my career. I mean, I wrapped up the championship with more than 2 rounds to go in an outdoor championship, but I also had a broken navicular bone in my wrist, and so I had to let it heal because we still had, back then we raced outdoors, nationals and supercross.
What, you don't have 2 wrists?
Well, exactly, except this one was the one that held the throttle. So
yeah, but this isn't golf, you guys. I mean, it just in the split second, something can drastically go bad.
I want him to carry that momentum into the outdoors. I can't wait for the outdoor motocross season. It's just around the corner. Love Supercross, but maybe it's because I'm old school, Brockster.
Yep.
I mean, there's nothing like the outdoor nationals.
I don't worry so much about Ryan himself, but did you guys watch Barsha ride again for the second week in a row? I mean, and I'm sorry, but even Weston Pike was riding the widest motorcycle. He's already a big boy, but coming down a straightaway that
he's got those 36-inch bars on that thing, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's like I saw him come down. He came down the inside. It's hard to describe it. It's heading towards the big screen and heading the direction of what the starting gate is, but it was all the way up against the side of the stadium. And he'd come out of the inside of that thing. He'd drift to the outside in a rhythm section, and he'd drift back to the left and back to the right. The guy covered like all sides of the track routinely. And I was watching from straight on, and I'm thinking, man, this is scary. Dungey's trying to work down the right side of him, and the guy's going from the left to the right to the left. I mean, it's like Dungey was. And that's where Tomac made a lot of passes at the end of that when he would come, especially what he did when Pike did come back to the side. He squared him up and dove underneath him. But it's I don't know. It's not in. I think Ryan's situation. I don't worry so much about him. I worry about some other person.
Sure. Yeah, it's just like it's just like driving on the freeway. If you're screaming down there and your lane splitting, it's not you that you're worried about. It's the other guy that you're worried about. And there's tons of team sports analogies like Jordan's talking about. You don't want to take your foot off the gas, and you want to keep playing good. Ball, whatever it is. so that when you get in the playoffs, you don't have to like restart the engine.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen teams where they set their star quarterback, they set their star players, and then you come out flat in the playoff game. We've seen that. So this is, maybe that's what his philosophy is, and I'm not arguing with it. I'm not arguing with a guy that's, on a winning streak and a guy that's hot and he's making hay while the sun's shining. So you can't argue with it. And
hey, Brockster, just got a message here, instant message from listener Brock, another Brock with a K, and he brought up a good point, the gate placement and the gate issue last night with, was it Seeley? Cole Seeley got hung up in the gate?
I think Partridge maybe got hung up in the gate. Did Seeley also?
Or was it maybe it was Partridge. The gate. Did it come back up on him?
Yeah, we had a little conversation afterwards about that. If that would have been one of the top 5 star guys, they might have, one of the name guys that they might have red flagged the race maybe. I didn't see the incident. I didn't see a replay yet, so it's hard for me to.
Yeah, they didn't go into depth, but there was another deal. When Seeley was in his heat race, and poor kid had done an endo. Another kid had done an endo, and he's laying there, and they're pulling his bike off. And apparently, apparently Seeley was told by the course worker under caution, go to the left here. He goes to the left, and he just T-bones the bike. They're rolling off of the course.
Exactly.
So you go from first to 5th place with one mistake.
And then don't forget, now that drastically affects the outcome of the race. Seeley then he has to ride a semi. He doesn't get one of the first. He went from picking first or second on the gate, depending on the time of his heat race, and if he would have won it. And he went from picking first or second to having to be, at best case scenario, he would have had to. He would pick 9th, and that can make a big difference on a short U-turn start like that. And he did. He got a horrible start in the main event, and he worked his way up, and had to work very, very hard. To get the place.
Hey, Brockster, we're up against a break, and I just heard a big old 800 horsepower motor pull into our parking garage here.
Well, real quick, probably the talk of the land here was Davey Millsaps. That was the talk of the week there.
It was, we could still get into that when you're back in studio.
Yeah,
that's an interesting topic.
Hey, have a good show. Say hi to Mr. Kyle Petty there. He's one of our all-time favorite guests, and I will tell him check out my Facebook page.
Hey, Brockster. I'm loving it.
I'm liking your chair, Brock. I don't know. I don't think I've given it up, man.
Thanks, Brockster.
Okay. All right, Kyle.
At home.
Kyle Petty is next on Bike Week Radio. He's going to talk about his 21st annual Kyle Petty charity ride across America. We'll tell you where it starts and where it finishes next. Bike Week Radio on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090.
Is that your duck?
Oh, yeah. His name is Manny.
I didn't need the name. I just want you to get the...
I heard about your special buy 3 tires, get the 4th for a duck.
Oh, not a duck. A 4th tire for a buck.
This is based on a true story. We here at Toyota Carlsbad would like to clarify that the special is buy 3 tires, get the 4th one for a buck.
A buck?
Not a duck.
A buck.
Right. Toyota Carlsbad. Details online at ToyotaCarlsbad.com or stop in and visit Toyota Carlsbad's new parts and service center west of I-5 on Avenida Encinas, Carlsbad. Toyotas only. No animals have been harmed in making this commercial.
Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year.
Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7.
Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown. 1-800-4BIKERS and online at russbrown.com.
Hi, James here from Toyota of Escondido. Guys, if you're hearing this commercial, that means you are into powerful machines that go fast and are durable. Toyota of Escondido has the biggest selection in San Diego of Toyota Tacomas and Toyota Tundras. Whether for work or play, we can customize the truck of your choice into the truck of your dreams. Don't waste time anywhere else. Stop by or give us a call. Toyota of Escondido. Freeway close where Highway 78 meets Broadway, just east of the 15.
You're listening to Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Woldridge, Brock Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back in, Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego's sports leader. It's the mighty 1090. Thanks to Brock Glover last segment. Now Kyle Petty getting ready to join Bike Week Radio Show.
Keeps getting better and better.
It does.
Kyle Petty, there's nothing like that guy. We had a chance to sit with him last year, Brock Glover and Bobby Woldridge and I, in Carlsbad when he started his ride across America. And, you know, I was disappointed because we only got to spend about an hour with him, and everybody else was getting their bikes ready, airing up tires. They're about to spend a whole week with him. So I'm glad we can spend a few minutes with him here this morning. Kyle, you there?
I'm here, man.
Kyle, thanks for joining us here this morning. We are excited for you, disappointed for us that you're about to start another epic adventure. And, you know, we've been told that the king, your dad, Richard Petty's riding along with you this year, which is just, you know, for your co-riders and sponsors, that's just got to be extra special.
Oh yeah, it is. It really is. You know, he's off and on for this is our 21st year, and off and on for those 21 years he's been with us at different times on the ride. And he's gonna, after Talladega, he's gonna meet us over in Bryce Canyon, I think, and ride with us all the way out to Branson, and then he's going up to Kansas, because that's where Kansas City. That's where the Cup race is that year, this year, but that weekend. But Donnie Allison's with us, Harry Gant's with us again, Matt Kenseth's going to ride with us, Herschel. Basically, same old crowd. We're just going to have a good time, just weaving our way across country.
That would be Herschel Walker.
That would be Herschel Walker.
Yeah, what's the connection there?
I think motorcycles, man. You know, obviously, you know, he's a phenomenal athlete. I look at him today and walk around and look at him and I'm thinking, man, this guy's got to be 25 years old, because he's got the body and mind of a 25-year-old. He just is incredible. But when we started, I met him somewhere and we were talking about motorcycles and cars. We were talking about riding sometime, and he said, I told him about our riding. He said, I'll come out and ride with you. So he came out and he rode with us, and he's been with us for the last, I think, 10 years. He's there every year, brings family with him. His group grows. Eventually, it's going to be the Herschel Walker ride, because I only bring about 25 or 30 people, and he brings about 80 people.
Kyle, when we met you last year in Carlsbad, near the beach, you told us, and I shared it with Pat and Jordan here this morning in the studio, you self-identified it. You're a bike guy. You said, I was a bike guy first, and, you know, you did the car thing. I would say you had kind of a mild attachment to the whole four-wheel car racing world, NASCAR. But I don't know, I got a little chill when you told me, I'm a bike guy. I'm like you guys. You looked across the table at Brock and I. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know, I got my first motorcycle when I was 5. My father bought me a motorcycle, and a little Yamaha 80. And I must have put 20 million miles on that thing, man. I rode that thing forever. But, you know, and I grew up with the race shop right there next door. And you know, always around race cars, and really always right in the heart of when, I guess, muscle cars were the big thing. You know, we had my dad did some drag racing in '65 with the Barracuda, and then the Hemi came out, and golly, man, the Roadrunner and the Superbird and the Dodge Charger, all those cars. And, you know, I say I'm a bike guy because I just thought there couldn't be any car ever built anywhere cooler than what a race car was. So once you've already been to the pinnacle of what a car is, everything else is nothing, really. And I just grew up riding dirt bikes, got a Harley when I turned 16, rode to high school on it, and have been riding ever since. And I just love motorcycles. The older, the better, but I just love motorcycles.
So what are you going to ride this year? Tell us about the bike you're riding for.
Yeah, I've got a 2011 Road Glide. Don Tilley, who passed away this last year, was the dealer in Statesville, and Don was a mechanic and drove times for my father and my grandfather when I was born in 1960. He was working there, so I don't think I've ever bought a motorcycle from anybody but Don. But he talked me into riding to the Road Glide, and he had started riding one, and it is. I just love that bike.
I like the looks of that bike. Yeah, that's if I added one to the stable, it would probably be that bike.
You know, and I'm a little bit taller like you guys, and it gives you a little bit of room. You know what I mean? And, and that's the good part about it. I got to tell you, the first time I rode across country, I rode on a Fat Boy because I thought you had to look good while you were riding a motorcycle.
We try.
Yeah, and I got the Tucumcari, New Mexico, and it was, I think, 28 degrees, and I swore if I ever got off that thing, I was going to buy the biggest, baddest bike I could buy with all the fanes and everything. And so from the time I was about 22, 23 years old, I've been riding dressers and big bikes ever since.
Nice, yeah. A lot to be said for creature comforts, huh?
Oh, yes.
So I learned another thing about you, and I wish I would have known it last year because I would have brought some guitars, but I'm looking at this picture of you from your Kyle Petty Charity Ride Across America page, and you're playing a D28 just like the D28 that I have. And I read some of the fan quotes here, and gee, we could have had you sing a little jingle for the show, but somebody said that they loved your rendition of Amy by Pure Prairie League. So I know it's not a total bike thing, but man, I'll tell you, I played that 8-track to death. When I got out of high school back in the 70s, I used to drive all the way up the coast and hit all the surf breaks. And when the year that Amy came out, I think I burned through 3 8-track tapes. So my hat's off to you for having that talent.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, man, we grew up at the same time, and when I got my first car, I had a late 60s Dodge Charger, and that baby had it had the ultimate in sound systems at that time. It had a 8-track CB combo, so you can talk on the CB.
You're killing me.
Your 8 tracks at the same time, man. So that was that may have been a Southern thing, but you were bad butt if you had a Charger with an 8-track CB combo, baby.
God, no kidding. But that's a nice thing. So you be performing, during the ride this year?
I perform every day, just getting from one city to the next. But it's funny. The guitar thing came along when I was, I guess, 11 or 12. Marty Robbins, who was a country singer.
Seen him perform here in San Diego. He opened for Johnny Cash when I saw him.
Yeah, and a phenomenal guy. But he drove a race car some in the early 70s, and he was the first guy that I ever saw play a guitar besides on TV. I mean, I've seen stuff on TV, but to just have a guy just pull out a guitar and start playing.
While riding a motorcycle?
Yeah. No, Marty Robbins. And what a voice.
Standing on the seat.
El Paso City. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he was, and I swore I was going to learn to play a guitar, so that's what I did.
That's I guess that's kind of inspired all of us. I can't remember who it was specifically, but I was kind of a cowboy growing up, living here in San Diego, but I was all about cowboy, and I saw maybe it was Roy Rogers or something. I just had to have that guitar, but that was a nice thing to learn. Now, I'm going to look at the map of your ride this year, Kyle, and you're going to some of my favorite places, including Bakersfield, believe it or not, home of
Sun Fun Place Stay, Bakersfield.
It's the Crystal Palace, Buck Owens.
Yeah.
Buck Owens and Merle Haggard. You're going to Tonopah. I've stayed in Tonopah many, many times, and I'm going to give you a little traveler's advisory here. If you can avoid it, don't stay at the Clown. They're nice people there, but, staying at a facility called the Clown Hotel is a little bit scary at times.
You know what? It was closed up when we were there. They
no way.
Closed for renovations, and they weren't going to be open while we were there. So we're staying at the Best Western there. And what's the haunted hotel in town? Oh God,
I know what you're talking about because I had a group of Italians that we put into that hotel, and of course they were already up to speed on anything haunted. It says get in there.
Yeah. So we're staying there. We're going out through Death Valley and going there. So
beautiful.
I'm looking. It's a pretty ride out across Death Valley and over to Tonopah.
And then Moab, you're going to be in Moab. Love that place. You probably aren't going to be out there doing the trail there on your Harley, but there's a lot of motorcycles to be had if you have a few minutes. Get out there on those petrified sand dunes, or maybe go up the Lions back there. Always
fun.
fun.
I'll have to take a trip back to do that. I don't believe the Road Glide will take that.
Probably not.
We ought to have them do some call-ins from the road that we can.
That's not a bad idea. Maybe we can bend your arm a little bit and reach you at one of these stops and give us a progress report. Maybe Colorado Springs or something like that. That'd be great.
Yeah, we can do that.
What are some of the spots that you're looking forward to during the ride? Because I know you guys start in Santa Cruz, you're going to end up in Missouri, but I'm sure there's a couple moments on that ride that you're looking forward to.
You know what? It's funny, and you know, we left from Carlsbad last year. Last year was our 20th, so we went really ocean to ocean, from Carlsbad to Daytona Beach, Florida. But the thing is, I think this year we've always said this about the ride. You know, we can go to Chicago or come into a big city like San Diego, and you just kind of get lost in the shuffle sometimes because there's so much going on in those cities, so much happening. But this year, you know, we're hitting Bakersfield, and like you said, Kevin Harvick's also from Bakersfield, so he's done some stuff for us. So we're hitting in Bakersfield, Tonopah. I'm looking forward to Tonopah. We're going to Bryce Canyon, and giving everybody a shot to just ride through the park there. I was looking forward to Moab, but I'm really looking forward to Hutchinson, Kansas, which is out just a little west of Wichita. And we did our site inspection, went through there. It's a nice-sized town, but, I mean, they are rolling out the red carpet. They're doing a dinner for us. They're doing all kinds of stuff, and there's so many race fans there. I was blown away just when we came through meeting the people, and it's not a place we've been through before, so I like those mid-sized towns like that, and they're a lot of fun. You meet a lot of people, meet a lot of race fans, and a lot of people that ride bikes.
Now, riding bikes is fun. The tour is going to be over the top. I just know in advance. But tell us about Victory Junction. Tell us why you're riding.
Yeah, Victory Junction is a camp for children with chronic and life-threatening illnesses. It's part of Paul Newman's Serious Fun organization. Originally, you know, it was called the Hole in the Wall Gang Group, and now it's called Serious Fun. And it's a great group of camps. There's the original camp, Hole in the Wall, and up in Connecticut. Then there's Boggy Creek in Florida. There's Painted Turtle out in California. And there's the camp, our camp here in North Carolina. There's a couple other smaller camps that just operate for a few weeks at a time. And then there's a couple over in Europe. But we see children with chronic and life-threatening illnesses. We have 9 or 10 weeks of summer camp, and then we have fall weekends and spring weekends. And it's we see diseases like spina bifida. We see blood disorders. We see HIV. We see craniofacial burn kids, kids with neurological disorders, and they're really sick kids that really don't have an opportunity to go to some other camps and do other things. So it gives them a chance to come and go to camp and have a good time and just experience what camp's all about. So and what having fun for a week is all about. So that the money we raise from the ride goes straight to that. Great.
And people can go to victoryjunction.org to learn more about this great organization. And Kyle, you know, it's always a pleasure to talk to you and, you know, to support your efforts because, you know, it's guys like you that give motorcycles and our community a great name. And we're really proud to have had a chance to chat with you for a few minutes here this morning on Bike Week Radio Show.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. We will check in with you along the way, let you know what we're doing.
Can't wait to hear.
Stories from the road.
Yeah,
stories from the road.
Thank you, Kyle.
That's Kyle Petty. So I think that haunted hotel you were talking about earlier, the Mitzpah Hotel.
Oh, the Mitzpah. Yeah, it's the Mitzpah.
Do you have any stories on that? Because this is the first I've heard.
Well, you know what? I 3 years in a row went over there with a big group from Italy and from Europe. You know, in August because we were involved in the Acerbis Nevada rallies, and Franco Acerbis is a visionary adventurer who takes people on big long rides all over the world, and he's quite an icon in the world of motorcycling. And we would take, you know, we had this entourage of hundreds of people, and you go into these little towns in Nevada, and you consume every possible place where somebody could sleep. So, you know, we'd come in. As a staff guy, I was director of marketing for the Nevada rallies. I stayed at the Clown because, you know, where would you put your executive management staff? You'd put them at a place. If you had your choice, it would always be at a place called the Clown Motel.
Well, of course.
But the Mid-Spa, because of its history and because of the fact that it is, in fact, haunted, was the place where we'd hand-pick some of the top riders and some of the people that needed a little inspiration.
So are your European buddies a little more into the haunted
they are.
stuff?
I mean, you're truer in Italy. Every restaurant, every home, every hotel you stay in has at least 8, Last Supper paintings or, busts of the Virgin Mary. So they're a little more, I don't know, driven towards the the religious side.
And do they give you the eye roll when you say this is a really old building?
Yeah,
it's
I
40
woke
years
up in the
old.
morning and there were all these little folded pieces of paper with a black dot on it. Some stink eye stuff. But we had a lot of fun. I enjoy Tonopah and other fantastic places in the state of Nevada, which is, you talk about a place that was built for motorcycles, Nevada.
It looks like the legend goes is saying there's a lady in red who haunts the 5th floor.
There you go.
So there it is.
I only got up to the 4th floor there.
Sounds like you got lucky.
I knew her. Never.
Yeah.
Next week. We'll talk about that next week.
That's a good
But that was fun. Man, Kyle Petty, one of these years, I think we should have a Bike Week radio show. Maybe we should hit one of the stops. And
what stop would you hit? I mean, you start in Santa Cruz, Bakersfield you bring up.
Bakersfield, just because I do like Bakersfield, that'd be kind of fun. But
what do you like about Bakersfield?
I like that I can drive there for one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could ride up there in a day and come back, and I've done that before. But I'm a California guy. It would be fun to interact with these guys because it would be the end of day one. End of day one, you got most of the group is still pretty much intact, and everybody's very enthusiastic. I'm sure on his rides, unlike every multi-day ride I've ever been on, everybody's enthusiastic at every stop because, you're with Kyle Petty and you'll be with Richard Petty this year. But
Herschel Walker.
Oh, God, Herschel Walker. And I heard an interesting thing, talk about football. At one of the NFL award ceremonies years ago, and I apologize, I forget which player it was, but some guy was getting a lifetime award, and I don't know that it was for the Hall of Fame, but it was something like that. And they asked him, out of all the people you played against, who did you always not fear, but who did you always have a moment of dread? And without even hesitating, he said, Herschel Walker. He said every time he touched you, you were injured or you would go home with a memorable tattoo from your interaction with Herschel Walker.
The best running backs, like the guy from Seattle, I mean, it's literally painful to tackle. I mean, you have to put yourself in front of a 250-pound person who's
it's like
2%
hit by a car.
It's exactly what it's
a 2% body fat, and they're running full speed at you, and
like
you're
I'm
supposed to
3%
tackle
body
them.
fat.
Yeah, they've actually done like sports science on a lot of those tackles, and it's pretty equivalent to actually getting hit by a car.
And then Herschel Walker just kind of revs it. It's like getting hit by a car with a turbo and running on race gas.
And he sort of was the first in a series. Him and Bo Jackson.
Yeah,
they came from that era of just rock solid.
And he's apparently, Kyle told us this when we were with him last year. Yeah, he's old habits die hard. So he's just it's like a tree, right? As it ages, it gets older and harder. And I think that's what's happened with Herschel Walker. He's just gotten stronger and stronger.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, and he's able to go across a couple sports. See him fighting with football. Now he's able to jump on the bike.
It's Herschel. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, no one's going to tell him otherwise. Right. Yeah. At least I'm not going to be the one to do so.
No.
So we have Phil Freeman coming up next, huh?
I can't wait. Phil's a good guy, and you talk about somebody that, boy, he gives new meaning to an adventure ride. He takes people all over the world, and I can't wait to talk to him about his next adventure.
And before we go to this break, a Russ Brown riding tip.
With our friend Chuck Coro.
Yeah, the Bike Week radio show is a family show, and we were lucky enough to hook up with Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys a couple years ago, because with this company, you're actually dealing with the owners. And there's a lot of companies out there that are just sort of, lead generation companies, and they have their logos and their fancy advertising as a way to get people in there. But when you're working with the folks over there like Chuck and Wendy Coro, actually working with the owners who care and know their stuff.
And they're fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
And they're the best people to hang out when you're at a show and you want to meet motorcycle people, because they have this bevy of lovely and knowledgeable
10-4.
Associates. And it's a great atmosphere.
So Chuck was kind enough to record some tips for us, and here's one of them.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys have been representing riders for decades, and here's Chuck Coro from Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys to provide you with a helpful riding hint.
California is a comparative negligence state, meaning that if you're proceeding with a case as a result of an accident, you could be found comparatively negligent, in which case any award would be reduced by the percentage of fault attributed to you. There's no formula for dividing the fault issue. It's a matter of negotiation or what the jury finds.
This helpful hint has been brought to you by Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys at 1-800-4BIKERS or online at russbrown.com.
Is that your duck?
Yeah. His name is Manny.
I didn't need the name. I just want you to get the...
I heard about your special buy 3 tires, get the fourth for a duck.
Oh, not a duck. A 4th tire for a buck.
This is based on a true story. We here at Toyota Carlsbad would like to clarify that the special is buy 3 tires, get the 4th one for a buck.
A buck?
Not a duck.
A buck.
Right.
Toyota Carlsbad. Details online at ToyotaCarlsbad.com or stop in and visit Toyota Carlsbad's new parts and service center west of I-5 on Avenida Encinas, Carlsbad. Toyotas only. No animals have been harmed in making this commercial.
Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year.
Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7.
Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown. 1-800-4BIKERS and online at russbrown.com.
You're listening to Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Woldridge, Brock Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Adam, you're going to make me cry. That's awesome. Pure Prairie League. Nice. Amy, huh? It's for you, Kyle.
Timely.
You and me.
Working the board
You're
like
in your
a
Dodger.
champ.
I'm in my Toyota pickup. I'm cruising the coast.
You feel like you should have grown up with Kyle Petty?
Oh, man.
Wrong
I think
coast?
we did. I think we're
He could have been your best friend.
I mean,
so
we're trending that way.
That was great talking about Kyle Petty's ride, but you've been...
I had a little adventure recently.
You've been out and about.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
I was in Boise, Idaho last week with our good friend, head of our Bike Week Radio Show orchestra, Scott Wallenberg. And each year, Scott and his friends from the Awihi, I think that's how it's pronounced, motorcycle club that started in 1939 in Boise, Idaho. I mean, they have 80 acres owned and run by the club. It's fantastic. It is Field of Dreams for a motocross fan. And they put on this event each year. It attracts, I think this year, 240 riders. And I had the unique pleasure of spending time with one of my heroes, Pierre Karsmakers. And Pierre Karsmakers is a renowned Dutch motocross champion from back in the day, just like Amy. And he's an 8-time Dakar rider and just a very nice man. He brought his wife with him. They'd made a little vacation out of it. But Scott and the crew brought him in from Holland. We spent a few days with him. And it was my first chance to spend a lot of time in a modern 2015 Toyota pickup, not like my 73 Toyota pickup when I was listening to Amy. But the new Tundras, we were in a crew cab Tundra. The thing was unbelievable. And, Pierre had never been in one. He'd been in Toyota vehicles before, but he goes, wow, this is beyond impressive. So I had, some other friends with us, Teddy Boyko from Boyko Racing. He came up from California with me, and we had the calamity last week. I was supposed to be in studio. I was going to bring Teddy with me. We had a nonstop flight all set up, which went sideways. All of a sudden, I'm getting ready to head to my car, and I realized I'm not in San Diego. I'm in Salt Lake City. But that's probably another story for another day.
Bike Week radio show, we're mostly all things two wheels, but let's face it, if you're a family,
got to have a truck.
Yeah, if you're a family that's out in the desert and you're recreating and you're out and about, you got to have a truck.
There's my on my short list right there. The next vehicle I will get will be a beautiful blue Toyota Tundra truck, just like I was in last weekend with Scott Wallenberg. And, we have some friends that sell those vehicles right up the coast, one little motorcycle putt away from the studio here at Toyota Carlsbad. Our friends there are all about motorcycles and motorsports, and they're located a stone's throw from the beach. They've got a fantastic 80-bay service facility there off of Avenida Encinas in Carlsbad, and we're proud to have them as anchor tenants here on Bike Week Radio Show.
Absolutely. We also have the founder of MotoQuest waiting on hold right now, Phil Freeman, joining Bike Week Radio Show.
Phil, what's happening?
Good morning from Alaska.
Alaska, how is it in Alaska? What's the temperature, about 80, 85 degrees right now?
Oh, it's not even spring yet. The flowers haven't even blossomed yet. We had a storm yesterday, and it just snowed. So,
But you're good with that. Now, Phil, how many months a year are you personally based in Alaska?
Oh, well, I live here all year long, but our season for riding is only about 12 weeks, that you can bank on.
So first ride this year. Tell us about that. When's it happening and where are you going?
Oh, we're offering one. I mean, people start riding. I even saw one 2 days ago. If it's not snowing, the riders are out. But, our season kicks off in May, and then our first trip leaves for Prudhoe Bay on June 4th, I believe, and goes all the way to the Prudhoe Bay, to the Arctic Ocean.
So MotoQuest, for people who may not be completely familiar with it, give us the 25-cent tour there. Tell us about MotoQuest, how it started, and what your affiliation is with this fantastic company.
All right. Well, we do motorcycle tours and rentals, and we started in Alaska. I'm born and raised in Alaska. I started it back in 1998, so we're looking at 17 years of motorcycle rentals and tours, and then we started doing international tours, so we offer 20 different countries. And you can also go to one of more of our locations up and down the Pacific coast and just rent a motorcycle from us and go explore around.
Great. And I know you've got affiliates, and you have one here in Southern California, because I believe the guys in Long Beach are I guess they'd be your southernmost affiliate, at least in the continental United States?
Yep. That's where our main office is, too. So if you ever call in, that's where we have most of our voices on the end of telephone lines. And then we also have rental shops in San Francisco, Portland, and also Anchorage. And what's pretty cool is in the spring, we'll offer people that they can ride a motorcycle one way all the way to Alaska.
That's not a bad. I can think of a few people I should sponsor to do that. One way out of the state of California, Alaska.
Yeah, with peanut butter spread across there.
That'd actually be a very fun ride. And I know, Phil, you've invited me on several rides, and honestly, I've got my hand held high. I'm going to take advantage of that one of these days when the pace slows down. Maybe we could do a Bike Week Radio Show MotoQuest cast. How's that?
Oh, it'd be great to have you up here. It's a beautiful country, and everybody loves it.
I have an international question. So, are there any high-profile international tours that have been popular in the past that you just no longer go there at least right now because the environment has changed in that country?
We really haven't had that much trouble with that. We do offer a trip in Turkey, but it's over on the west side of the country, and we have no problems at all. So far, so good. We've been very lucky.
Well, Phil, for more information, where should people contact you at?
Well, they should go to our website, of course, MotoQuest.com. And what's really cool is next week we're going to do a webinar on Alaska. And all you got to do is go to our Facebook page to look up the information for that. But it'll be April 28th at 4 p.m., which is Pacific Standard Time. And Brendan Anders, the general manager of MotoQuest down in Long Beach, and I will both just answer questions about how to, where to, when to ride in Alaska. So if you just want to learn a little bit about how to prepare your bike or what to expect or where to go, just come by the webinar. But it's fun riding up here. I invite everybody to do it. Everybody loves it.
Great. Phil Freeman, thanks very much. MotoQuest, we dig it.
Thank you, guys.
Bringing my pole, bringing my fishing pole.
Yeah, MotoQuest.com if you want to check out the website. Guys, I think that does it.
Yeah. You know what? Todd Huffman was going to come on, our good friend, documentary filmmaker, Todd Huffman. He's been a multiple-time guest here on Bike Week Radio Show.
Next time.
Toddster, we'll set up a segment for next week where we can give you some time to talk about these new projects we're working on, including the Catalina Grand Prix movie and the Carlsbad Memorial. We just did a little effort with this past week at Carlsbad. You will learn more about that. So, Toddster, sorry we couldn't fit you in this week, but next week, maybe we'll get you in studio. Ride that Yamaha Super Tenere down here.
Ryan Dungey, stay safe.
Ryan Dungey. Peace. He's the man.
How about Kyle Petty today?
Kyle Petty.
Solid.
Get out of here.
So good.
Get out of here. And he's riding with his dad, who he even refers to as the king, because, everybody refers to Richard Petty as the king.
And next week I'll save some ice skating stories for you.
Yes, please do. Yeah, you want to tape that ankle, by the way.
Yeah.
So plenty of things coming on Bike Week Radio Show. That does it for us today. We head into Padres pregame show. Padres and Cubs will get underway. Moments on San Diego Sports Leader. It's the Mighty 1090.